So, folks, we're
So
going to
first
rate.
of all, we have to say whether or not we've played the game.
Okay. Should we make a tier for? We could do like haven't played.
Yeah, that's
Let's see if we can do that.
because I actually haven't played most of them.
I've played a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right, so starting with the original Legend of Zelda, I have played a little bit of it.
Uh-huh.
I have not played that much. I think because it is the original Legend of Zelda, I think it's automatic A tier. Just out of posterity, right? Like it's the thing that started it all.
So Legend of Zelda. This is the first. I
say
would
B
actually,
tier.
I would do A because it was. I think you were right with your first assessment, and something I would also point out is it was pretty. Like I think it's pretty impressive looking back on it. For the reason that it was open. You know, you could do the dungeons in any order. It didn't really hold your hand that much, and in some ways, it did what a lot of people really like about Breath of the Wild. What? 20, 30 years before, and it almost got no credit for it.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
All right, so
Fair
we're putting an A. So next one, I've actually played this one. I'm probably the only one
I
here
have
who
not
has.
played Zelda 2, but I have played a game that is. I have played the Adventure Time game, which is essentially Zelda 2. So the Adventure Time game is in the style of Zelda 2. I would say no higher than a B tier.
I was never able to get very far. It's a very abusive game when it comes to lives. A lot of one-off mechanics that you don't really see anywhere else. I'm willing to put this one in C.
I'll go C. I'm fine with C.
Okay.
So The Legend of Zelda, Adventure of Link, Z. Link to the Past, third game.
Link to the Past.
A tier for me.
Beautiful art style.
A
game you can
my
play.
Zelda game growing up. As a kid, I never really got far, but that first dungeon, the very first dungeon, will live with me forever. I love that so much. It was so great. Yeah, A tier for me. If not S tier, but I'm gonna save S tier for a couple of games that I think are even better. So
I will say I own the cartridge. I've never had an SNES. But I own the cartridge. I had it on the Wii Virtual Console. I've never beat it, but I've always been a big fan of it.
I beat it once when I was right before I played Link Between Worlds. I finally got around to actually playing it for reals and beating it. Because there was a couple of parts where I was just young and I was stupid and I didn't realize, oh, I'm just supposed to do this and I can progress.
Yeah.
So I'd say A tier.
A tier. We're doing it. Okay, so what technically came next? I think Link's Awakening.
Link to the Past, Link's Awakening came next.
So, Link's Awakening. You ever played it? You have any thoughts on it?
Yes, I have played it. I would say B tier. Technically, I don't even think it's a real Zelda game. Like, it didn't come out as Zelda. It was originally a different game, and then they rebranded it to Zelda, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know. I would say B tier. It's good. It's very good. It's definitely better than Zelda 2. But I would say B tier. I never really fell in love with it. It's cool. There's a lot of cool spots. I never beat it, but it's all right.
This is a hard one for me so one of my friends had it on the Game Boy Color disc. Two of my friends had it, and at different points, I borrowed each of their cartridges, and I eventually got the remake on the Switch, and I beat it. I'm a big fan of the game. It's really weird. There are some mechanics I really want to put an A, but just for the sake of agreement, I'm willing to go down to B, just because there's a lot of very obtuse puzzles. Some of the mechanics.
You know what?
Can
we drop Link 2 to D?
Let's do that. Yeah.
Because I have some games. I think B is better than what we're giving it. So I'd say
yeah.
B.
Okay.
Because A is really good. S is the best. B I think is still pretty good. I still enjoy Link's Awakening. It's a good game, but it's just
great game.
Not as good as Link to the Past. And there's another B game that I know on this list I'm gonna want to give.
And
a B,
you know something too is it's like trying to rank Beatles albums. It's like there's such a
they're
high
all
barrier of entry, anyways.
Yeah.
So sure.
You want to do that next?
I'd be willing to do that sometime, but I don't want to make sure I go through these back to back.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I just genuinely, I'm just sitting here listening, and I'm like, yeah, these guys are the biggest nerds on the planet ever. Like, talk about something manly, like guns.
Well, let me guess.
Trucks.
You're gonna give OOT S tier.
You have to. Is that even?
I will back you up on it. I didn't even play that much, but out of what I've played, I'm willing to back you up on S tier.
The kids part really great. Adults, some of the dungeons, I would say 3 out of the 5, and one of them is arguable. A lot of people love. One of the ones I'm not a big fan of, which is the Fire Temple. But 3 of the 5 adult dungeons are just memorable. I mean, unforgettable. So we'll go ahead and do that. And so I'm thinking, I'll go and tell you, I'm thinking about doing some video essays on the channel too. Just a couple. Simple stuff, just putting forth an argument. And one of the ones I want to do is how Ocarina of Time has left an imprint on every game that's come after it. And, how instrumental it is to the video game industry as a whole. It's like the Beatles in the sense that everyone was influenced by it, and if you weren't directly influenced by it, you're influenced by something that was influenced by it. Now,
yeah, I get that.
Majora's Mask, I'm just going to start by saying I think it should be S tier too. I see it in Ocarina of Time is inseparable.
I don't think you can put Majora's Mask as S tier. It's not nearly as consequential. It's a lot shorter. I've never played it. I know what it's about. I know it's a lot shorter than Ocarina of Time. I know it's a lot smaller than Ocarina of Time.
If you're only looking at the main story, but where Majora's Mask shines is in the side quests. I mean, there's a side quest that's a main story in its own right. And it's, let me make this pitch. The game works on a 3-day cycle. And because of that, so many NPCs and characters are scripted from, sun up to sundown for an entire 3 days. And it forces them to flesh out, if you catch this guy at 6 a.m. on one day, they're going to say something and they're going to be in one place. You catch them at 8 a.m., they're going to be in another place and they're going to say something else. They always react to the different masks you have. I think there's something like 20-something masks in the game. It's incredibly interactive, and it makes you feel like you're changing the world. It feels dynamic. And they really took the technology to the fullest extent.
I thought the whole game had to be played in 3 days, like in 3 game days.
I mean, what happens is you get to the end of the 3 days, or you get to, a stopping point where you feel like you've done enough for a cycle, and you play your Ocarina, you play the Song of Time, and it resets the clock. And so
but you
see
don't lose
these people.
Your progress.
No, not really. I mean, if you're like in the middle of a dungeon, you'll lose your progress in that. But for example, if you get the item in a dungeon, that goes back with you. If you complete a dungeon, that saves. You don't have to do everything again over and over. If
gotcha.
If you know what you're doing, you only have to do it once, which, I mean, if you played it, you would have no problem doing.
Alright, well, you can give it A tier then. I mean, I haven't played it, so I don't know.
A tier or S tier?
Whoa, I said A tier.
I can't.
Come on, man. It's not nearly, no.
Yeah, I feel like you can't...
Over Ocarina of Time.
We'll put it slightly behind.
All right, put it in the haven't played, because I don't know. I think S tier is reserved for 2 games.
Here's what we're gonna do. Whoops. You said it's reserved for 2 games?
Yeah, because that's. I mean, you know what other game I'm gonna put in there.
Hold on. We're gonna do this. All right. We're gonna add a row below, and
you're gonna call that row like A+.
No consensus. S tier. And I'm putting this here.
Change the color, make it.
Yeah, you're right.
Alright.
Okay.
What's
so
next? We got
the
Oracle of Season and Ages. I've never played that.
I've played Ages. I enjoy it. It's been a long time. I don't remember enough. I'm willing to just toss it in, let's say, C tier. It's going to come out on the Game Boy emulator on Switch soon, and at that point, I'm going to play both of them, but until then,
Then we have Four Swords. Four Swords, for me, is a C tier.
Which one's which? Four Swords.
Actually, no, Four Swords is a D tier, in my opinion.
I'm willing to give it that. I don't know if I played. Which one was the one? I think I played Four Swords Adventure, and I'm gonna.
And we can give Four Swords Adventure C.
Yeah, because I played it with some friends.
About this. We'll talk more about this when we get to that.
Okay.
So then it's Wind Waker. I've not played Wind Waker.
Beautiful game. I would recommend it. It's one of the Zelda games that, if you were to package it in a box for a Switch and put it out there, a lot of people would believe it's a new game, and they love it. Especially if you did some light, remastering work, which they did with the Wii U. For that reason, I was hoping that would be your S tier pick, so I could put in the no consensus S tier. But in the very least, I think it deserves A. It's a fucking fantastic.
I'm fine with that. I've never played it. I've heard it's meh, but coming off of Majora's Mask and stuff, because I've seen the art style. But I do like that they kept thematic with it into Phantom Hourglass, which is a few games down.
Sure.
So after Wind Waker is Four Swords
and I should
Adventure.
add real quick, I'm thinking about doing a full playthrough on stream of Wind Waker. Not with you guys. I do it separate.
Four Swords Adventures, I will do C tier. It is a gimmick game. Both of them, Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures, are gimmick games, not real Zelda games in my opinion.
I enjoyed Four Swords Adventure.
There's Zelda Light. I enjoyed Four Swords Adventures. I played it with friends. You have to play them with friends. I mean, It's the only way. They're multiplayer Zelda games. They aren't real in my opinion. They have dungeons-ish. They're Diet Zelda. They're meh. But in that regard, Four Swords Adventures is objectively better than Four Swords. It has more content, and it is upgraded. It's easier to connect. You don't need the fucking link cables. It's all wireless. But still, either way, they're both very gimmicky. They're both very meh, in my opinion. I'm not a huge Four Swords fan. Like I said, I've played them. They're fun. They're definitely fun, but they did not feel like full Zelda games. Right.
I agree. It's fun. It's great with friends, but I think it was more sense in when it was contemporary.
It was
what was
absolutely
going on.
Perfect for what they were designing it for.
Yeah.
Which was a portable Zelda game that you can pick up and play like a mobile game kind of thing.
Well, this one, I think Four Swords Adventure was on the GameCube. With the Game Boy component. Yeah. You had to hook up with the link cable.
Okay, I'm thinking of there was a Four Swords Adventures like port to like DSi or something like that.
Oh, that they may have done that. I don't know.
Hold on, let me check because I actually have my 3DS open and let me hit save on Zelda.
Now I don't know if you can hear the music right now.
I can. It's very loud.
But this is from Wind Waker, and one thing about Wind Waker, the soundtrack, it's right up there with Ocarina of Time. If you were to base this solely off soundtracks, Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker would almost be neck to neck. Wind Waker has a fucking great soundtrack.
We keep saying Four Swords Adventure. I got that mixed up with what I was thinking was Four Swords Anniversary Edition.
Oh. Well, we'll just say Four Swords Adventure and leave it at that then, because I don't think the other one pops up here.
Because Four Swords Anniversary Edition is a remake of Four Swords for the Nintendo DSi, as I think it was freeware, came out just during the anniversary. They gave it out for free for the DSi, and it was basically just a port of Four Swords. And I'm still willing to keep exactly what I said, because I'm sure Four Swords Adventures had more content for the GameCube. But either way.
Hold on.
Next up is the Minish Cap.
Yep. I'm playing it right now. I'm on the 5th dungeon. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the end dungeon.
I would say at least B tier. I'm not willing to go lower. I would be willing to go to A tier, but B tier is my lowest.
Playing it again, I think it's a great game. But I think it's missing a couple of the standout Zelda qualities, so I'm willing to settle on a B tier.
I grew up with that game too. That was another one. I love that game, but yeah, it's not a huge Zelda game. It's a portable Zelda game. All the portable Zelda games are always going to be a little bit less because they were built for handhelds.
Yeah,
but
for the most part.
I still love Minish Cap. I thought it was a great game. Great dungeons. I love the Minish. Can we throw some Minish Cap a soundtrack on, actually? Can we swap this for the Minish Cap soundtrack?
Let me see if there's some Minish Cap music in here. There is.
I love that soundtrack. I loved the Minish, mechanic. I love the character of the hat. I forget his name, but I love that character.
It's Ezlo.
Yeah, as I thought he's the way less annoying than Navi, but way more fun. Yes. Yeah. I love.
All right.
Big Minish Cap fan.
There's something else. Oh yeah, one of my best memories
about the sound is a bit loud.
Drop it a bit. One of my best memories is my parents promised to get this.
Can we not do dungeon? This is a little too aggressive.
A lot of the music's like dungeon
there
music.
We go. Yeah, this is good. It's better.
Here, we'll start right here.
There, this is good.
But I got the game for going with my parents to see their friend playing Waxahachie. And I was kind of pitching a fit about it, trying to leverage it so I could get Minish Cap. And I got it. Anyways, yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I beat one of the dungeons finally. It took me forever. I think it was the one with the worm. Finally beat it. And I did like a trick on the stairs, and I broke my Game Boy Advance. And
what was the trick?
My mom bought me a new Game Boy Advance because she was also playing Minish Cap.
Oh wow!
And so she's like, "Well, I want the Game Boy Advance to play Minish Cap," so we were able to get our Game Boy Advance.
So what was the trick? You got to tell me what the trick is now.
I don't know. It was something I jumped up on the banister or something, did something dumb and slipped.
One time, my brother took my Game Boy SP, and he threw it in the pool.
Drop that music. It's still a little bit loud.
Yeah. I think right here is as good as we're gonna get it. Because it's almost totally off now. Okay, so next, I think we're looking at Phantom Hourglass.
Nope, Twilight Princess is next.
Okay. It's controversial.
I've never played Twilight Princess. I never had a Wii.
Controversial. I loved it as a kid. I think there's some elements that made sense in the late 2000s, kind of Hurt Locker, Fallout 3, doom and gloom sort of thing that was going on. And I think it's a great game. But for one, the beginning's just way too dry. It's way too long. It takes forever to get where it's trying to go. But once the game picks up, it's amazing. It just takes hours to get there. I'm willing to put it, unfortunately, in B. Well, I guess it's only my rating because I'm the only one who played it.
Next up is the Phantom Hourglass, and I'm gonna package Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks together. They both have different ratings in my books, but I'm gonna talk about them together.
Okay.
Phantom Hourglass, I played first. It came out first. Played first. Then I played Spirit Tracks. I loved Phantom Hourglass. I thought it was a great game, an amazing game.
I loved it at the time.
Spirit Tracks, as much as I am into trains, Spirit Tracks was not nearly as good as Phantom Hourglass. The boat mechanic was way better than the train mechanic. You had a lot more freedom. I loved the fishing mini games. I loved all that stuff. I loved Phantom Hourglass. That being said, I want to say it's an A tier. Well, what's your rating on Phantom Hourglass?
I would say at best a B, but I'm willing to hear you out.
I'm willing to put it as a B because it's I don't know. I really liked it, but it's not as big as a full console Zelda game.
Right. And there are issues with the DS games. It's going to be hard to ever port those.
They did pack a lot into it, though. And
I mean, there
were a lot of cool stuff in there, like all of the DS specific puzzles, like shutting the screen and blowing into the mic, and you had to use the different aspects.
The mic was broken
DS.
On my DS, so when I got to that part, I had to stop for a month until we could get a peripheral, or peripheral microphone that we had to plug in.
I played. You know what? I want to say it's an A because I ended up, even after you finish the game, I spent so much time in the open world, just sailing the seas, catching fish, doing some of the open world stuff, that
Yeah, I mean, you could get like boat parts, getting the heart pieces.
Yeah, you could
There's a lot.
You could do more. It felt more open world than some of the other Zelda games I played. So I want to say it's an A.
So I'm gonna make a compromise. You let me put Majora's Mask in S, and I let you put that in A.
All right, you got yourself a deal.
All right. Whoops. Thank you.
No consensus S tier. Well, I guess we have to.
We'll keep it for now.
Now.
Okay.
Spirit Tracks C tier.
C tier. I'm good with that.
Yeah, because I was originally going to say Phantom Hourglass B, Spirit Tracks C, but the more I think about it, the more I really loved Phantom Hourglass. Spirit Tracks did not live up to it. And the other thing I loved about Phantom Hourglass that I said I was going to... Oh, this is Link to the Past.
The music?
Yeah, is this not Link
no,
to
it's
the
actually Minish Cap. But I'm sure they reused some songs.
Yeah, it just sounded like... Well, the beginning sounded like Link to the Past.
Oh, I was just listening to that song. It's this old. I'm gonna see if I can get...
Anyway.
Here we go.
Ooh, that's... Yeah, I love this one. Yes! Okay. This brings me back. This Minish Cap. What do you think, Shaw?
He's gonna be back in approximately any minute now.
Anyway, so here's the other thing that I want to say about Phantom Hourglass. I really liked, even though I had never played Wind Waker, it was obviously set in the same universe as Wind Waker. It was the sequel to Wind Waker. Takes place right after.
Yep.
And I enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty cool. I think that makes it cooler, in my opinion. I think that makes it. It's like a true. It's like the first Zelda sequel. Right? Well, no, technically, is Majora's Mask a sequel of Ocarina of Time?
It is a direct sequel. That's part of, I think, what makes it so compelling, and why I view the two games as inseparable.
Okay,
but I think, real quick, I think Zelda 2 was actually a direct sequel to Zelda 1, and Link's Awakening is a direct sequel to Link to the Past.
Is Link's Awakening a direct sequel to Link to the Past? I thought Link's Awakening was different. It was like, because he's asleep or something like that.
Yeah, no, he fell asleep at sea, but it was the same Link from Link to the Past.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's not as direct of a sequel as,
No, yeah, it's not. There's a
because it's the same Link, but it's the same Link, but it's a completely different story.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Whereas Phantom Hourglass is the same continuation of the same story.
Right. I would put it right there with Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm happy with how we placed them then, because Majora's Mask is with Ocarina of Time and Phantom Hourglass is with Wind Waker.
There you go.
All right. So we did Spirit Tracks. That's a C tier. Like I said, it was fun. I love trains, but the mechanics were kind of meh.
Right.
It wasn't as free as Phantom Hourglass. The Lost Woods were cool, but it was just more of a fan service than anything else. Skyward Sword is next. I have not played Skyward Sword.
I would put it in B tier. I think it's alright, but I have a lot of issues with the game. One issue is, as a lefty, first of all, this is the first Zelda game where they turn Link right-handed. Officially.
I thought Twilight Princess was, because Twilight Princess was also for
the official port for Twilight Princess is on the GameCube, and Link is still left-handed. In the Wii version, they mirrored it, so that way, because people are going to be using the Wiimote, primarily in their right hand. Skyward Sword was exclusively on the Wii, and so that's when they switched it. And now you get to, a couple years later, they do the remake or the remaster on the Switch, and there's no functionality if you're a left-handed, player. Meanwhile, Link has been a left-handed video game character, and probably the most iconic left-handed video game character since, 1986. I mean, disgraceful. So I, as a lefty, have trouble playing the game. I had to use the controls. The watercolor I'm not a big fan of it. A lot of it just looks kind of washed out. It's kind of a short game too. I'm willing to put it in B.
Damn, I thought you would have put it C or D.
I mean, it's still a mainline Zelda game with a lot of story value, and it's a decent game overall. It's just, as far as, like, the mainlines go, not that great. So next we get to A Link Between Worlds. I have played it.
A tier.
It's been so long, I'm just gonna refer to your judgment.
I love. So I bought that game. So like I said, I grew up with Link to the Past. It was I had a SNES growing up. I went out and I bought, for this game, I bought the, and I did not have a 3DS at the time. I bought the limited edition Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds Nintendo 3DS, which comes with the game.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I love Nintendo bundles because it's always cheaper to buy the system and the game than it is to buy them separately.
Right.
Like, they always give you a discount for buying the limited edition thing. And you have a limited edition game console, which is cool, because it's, like, got Triforces on it, and it's gold. So, it's a pretty sick device. I have it in front of me. It's what I've been playing Ocarina of Time on. I loved it. I played that game the entire first weekend it came out. So, it also came out... This is a funny thing. That game came out on the same day as the Xbox One. The original Xbox One. And I remember walking into Best Buy and being like, I'm here to pick up my pre-ordered console. No, not the Xbox, you silly idiot. The 3DS.
I'm just imagining an awkward teen Bobby walking in.
Yes, with my friend who had a car, because I had to have him drive me.
I remember being in that age. Yep, I was in the same boat as you.
And so I got it, and I played it for like a full weekend, full 3D the whole weekend. My eyes were crossed, like fully. It took days to recover from that. I remember my parents calling me down for dinner after like 4 or 5 hours of just playing this game, and I was just like, I could not see straight. But I love that game. A tier, definitely A tier. A very good game, very good sequel to Link to the Past. Just a great game.
All right.
Next up is technically Triforce Heroes, though I don't see it here.
Yeah, I'm willing to skip that one.
Yeah, that one was barely a Zelda game. Finally, Breath of the Wild. That is my second pick for S tier.
I'm willing to put it up there. I had a little bit of hate towards it at first, if I'm being honest, because it dispatched the item system, which I've always been a big fan of. Speaking of which, it significantly reduced the amount of dungeons.
But you have
generalized
the
them. Right. Well, the shrines are still... I like... And you'll see it as you get into Ocarina of Time. That's part of what makes Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask so good, is like the thematics of the dungeons. There's an aesthetic, there's a feel, and they do a really good job at creating the atmosphere around it. Breath of the Wild, unfortunately, just kind of turned it all into, like, this, like, ancient alien technology sort of thing, and I wasn't a fan of that, and I hope they change that in the sequel, but everything else about the game is so good that I feel like you have to give it credit.
I see, here's the thing about Breath of the Wild. I also grew up with Zelda. I love Zelda dungeons. I love the order of them. I love the kind of the procedures you go through. That's another thing I love about Phantom Hourglass. You go through the same dungeon multiple times. You go to different levels.
I didn't like that. I know the one you're talking about. I was not a big fan of that.
Yeah, the Dungeon of Time. I thought it was cool because it's like, and then you also have a countdown. You only have 8 minutes to do it.
That's why I didn't like it.
I loved that. It was like, it really puts you on, and then you're like, shit, I gotta go back to reset the clock. But for Breath of the Wild, I just loved how different it was. It was not, they said, they took Zelda, which has basically been the same game since 1986. They took that game and they completely changed it. And they said, you know what? Instead of, you just go through the same dungeons over and over again, they completely rebuilt it to kind of a more modern RPG, to more modern ways of playing. And I just love it. I've not beaten the game. but I do love playing it. It feels like it makes it, in terms of Nintendo games, it feels like a truly adult Nintendo game.
Yeah,
like
I've seen it been said before, and I think this is a good way of putting it, is that the series kind of came into its own. It's matured. It's gone through the cycle of growth where, you know, maybe it was the valedictorian as a kid. It was like, you know, gifted and talented, whatever. And it had all these successes, and then now it's kind of hitting a mature point. And I would agree with that. I think it's a great game. I enjoy the shrines. I really love the puzzles and kind of the ingenuity in the open environment.
Did it win Game of the Year?
Oh, I don't know if Zelda ever loses Game of the Year. Let's see. So it looks like it won some. At the Game Awards, it did win. Yeah.
Okay, Game of the Year in Okay, that's what I thought in 2017.
But all right, we got our boy back. We made it through the rankings. And if you're watching the clip of this, let us know what you think. What's the most offensive? Which is the most offensive pick here? What do you agree with? Do you disagree on any specific takes?
Here's what I think.
Let us know.
Here's what I think people are gonna find most offensive. They're gonna say that Phantom Hourglass shouldn't be A tier.
Well, yeah.
They're gonna say that even Spirit Track should be D tier.
I'm willing to move that one down.
Well, no, I think it's still C tier. I still enjoyed it.
Okay.
But I think they're gonna say Phantom Hourglass shouldn't be A tier. I think they're gonna say that I don't know. What do you think? Maybe a couple of these games are too highly ranked, and a couple of them are
Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword probably would be moved up by some people. Wind Waker is the debatable S tier. I think with some people.
Oh, I've heard Wind Waker's debatable B tier.
And it depends on who you talk to. It's controversial, I guess, till today, but it's some people think it's one of the best games ever made. You know.